One of the biggest mistakes I made while learning AWS was copying other people's learning paths, not because they were wrong, but because their path was not built for me. When you are new to AWS, copying feels safe. It's reassuring. You see someone online who looks successful. They share their roadmap, their certifications, their timeline. You see their journey from beginner to landing that high-paying cloud job, and you think, if I just follow this exactly, I will get the same result. It feels like a guaranteed formula for success. The hidden assumption we all make is that learning paths are universal. We believe that if a specific sequence of steps worked for one person, it must work for everyone else. But AWS learning paths are not one size fits all. That's a fundamental misunderstanding that sets so many people up for frustration. Here's why this causes so many problems. People come into AWS with vastly different backgrounds. Some already have a deep understanding of networking concepts. Some have been writing code for years. Others are coming from a traditional IT support role, and many are starting from absolute zero, with no tech experience at all. When you copy a path without considering your own context, you inherit solutions to problems you don't have, and you skip the fundamentals you desperately need. This is exactly where the confusion begins. You start learning services you don't need yet, just because they were on someone else's list. You rush into advanced topics like serverless architectures or machine learning before you even understand what an EC2 instance is. You skip fundamentals like EM or VPCs because you are in a hurry to get to the exciting stuff. Soon enough, you feel completely overwhelmed and lost. And when things inevitably stop making sense, you don't blame the path. You blame yourself. You think you're just not smart enough for this. This experience is so common that it's become a trope for beginners. This is why many people trying to learn AWS say it feels random or way too complex. They feel like they are just memorizing a random collection of three-letter acronyms without any real understanding of how they connect. But it's not that AWS itself is inherently random. It's the learning order. A chaotic learning order creates a chaotic understanding. What people rarely tell you when they share their polished, perfect-looking learning path is this: most learning paths evolve over time. They look clean and logical in hindsight, but they were messy, full of detours, and constantly changing while they were actually happening. Nobody's real journey is a straight line, but that's how it's often presented online. The real cost of copying isn't failure. It's the wasted time and, more importantly, the lost confidence. You spend weeks or even months studying topics that aren't relevant to you, getting more and more confused. You feel like you're falling behind, even though you are working incredibly hard every single day. This feeling of not being good enough can be the single biggest reason people give up on their cloud journey. Things completely changed for me when I finally stopped copying blindly. I had a crucial shift in my mindset. I stopped asking, "What is that successful person learning?" And I started asking a much more powerful question: what do I need to understand next to solve the problem in front of me? A much better approach is to learn AWS through problems, not through predefined paths. Frame your learning around fundamental questions. How does a website actually get traffic from a user? Where does the data for an application live? How do different systems talk to each other securely? How do you make sure your infrastructure stays online if something fails? Then, you go and learn the specific AWS services that are designed to solve those exact problems. This approach works because it builds genuine clarity. You understand the why behind a service before you even start learning the how. You learn about Route 53 because you need to solve the problem of domain name resolution. You learn about S3 because you need a place to store data. AWS stops feeling like a random list of tools and starts feeling like a coherent, interconnected system designed to solve real-world challenges. So if you've been following someone else's path and it didn't work for you, please hear this. You are not slow. You are not behind. You are not failing. You just need a path that actually fits your unique background, your current knowledge, and your future goals. The simple truth is this: the right AWS learning path is not the most popular one or the one that worked for some guru on the internet. It's the one that makes sense to you, step by step. Ultimately, learning AWS is not a race. It's not about speed. It's about clarity. And that clarity only comes when you stop copying and start understanding. Focus on building a solid foundation, one concept at a time, and you'll build a journey that's truly your own.